Hi guys, welcome to day 2. In this one we are going to look at two things very important for any businesses, which is invoices and supplier bills. So the first one we will look at is how to manage customer quotes and invoices. So for this, on your Xero certification, when you come here on the second hand section, you have all the quotes and invoices, so you can click on that. That's there. Okay, so I'm just going to explain you how the invoices and quotes actually work and how you need to put that information in your Xero Blue, right? Okay, so first thing is you would come to business, and then you will have heaps of sections. So these are all related to sales, and these related to purchases and products and services, and we've got expense claims, right? And then you hit you can straight go on to quotes or invoices, payment links and things, and then this has an overview of this whole thing. Same goes with purchases, has an overview of the whole thing. So sales overview. Okay, so this is how your sales overview looks like. So there's 4 draft invoices you have, and you have not approved them yet, and then there's one here waiting for approval, and then you've got 12 payments awaiting, and out of that 12 there's 2 overdue. So you can just call the customer and tell them and follow up and ask them to make payments. And then at the same time there is quotes here, 82.5, there's only one here, and this needs to be approved to an invoice, and from here you need to send it to the customer and then receive payments. So that's how the whole process work. Okay, great. So the first thing here is I'll just open one of the quote and show you. So this one I just did one earlier for 82.5, so I can click and hit send. So this is how an email population will show up saying that 82.5 blah blah blah, and then hit send. So for this purposes I'm just going to create a new quote, and this is the starting stage. So you create the quote and then allow the customers to have some time to accept the quote if they're happy, or they can decline it, or they can approve, or they can accept, and then you give a specific time frame. Within this time frame this invoice is valid for this price, and they accept the quote first, and then once that's accepted an invoice will be generated for them to make payment, and then we will dispatch the goods and services, and then within that time frame when the payment needs to be made, the customer will make the payment, and that's how the whole sales scenario works. Okay, so I'm gonna build I'm just gonna send a new quote to the ABC contact that I created earlier. So I just go here, ABC contact, issue date is today, and you decide when's the expiry date needs to be. So I'm just gonna say you have to accept within 14 days. Australian dollars, standard, don't worry about it, don't worry about the project tax exclusive or inclusive. I'll show that in a bit. So these are the items. So these are all the products and services that you need to manually put it in. So this we will be studying towards the very end, and in day 6, inventory for products and services. So because on this demo company everything is set up, so I'm just gonna say I'm gonna pick one of these. So let's just go with t-shirt large black, and then one quantity is $40, and there is GST on it. Just to make it more nicer, we'll just add the quantity as 10, so we will get a huge amount. So this amount gets populated automatically based on the quantity that you put in, and so automatically all the codes assigns towards sales, because that's where it meant to go. And then if you cross above $75,000 you have to pay GST on it. So let's just say there's GST on income $400, so that's the net price 400, and 10% GST is 40, and the total is 440. This is how much they need to make payment to you. And at the same time you also can work it out otherwise, where you say that this 400 is tax inclusive, so it'll work it out in the other way. So now that the total figure is 400, and then within that 400 36.36 is GST, so they'll work it out the other way. So net should be 363, and on top 10%, and then that is equals to 400. So I have never come across businesses using this, so it's always tax exclusive, right? So once everything is sorted, so you're saying to that customer, okay, I'm happy to supply this for this amount. So how generally it works is the customer calls, says that okay, I need this amount for this much, and he asks for all the units, and then you put all the figures together, and then you send it to them. And then I'm just gonna send or mark as send, because I haven't sent it, so I'm just gonna send this. I don't think it will work. So because we didn't have an email address set up for the company, because that's a new contact that I created. Again, contacts we will learn in the last bit here. For the time being, I'm just gonna say abc@gmail.com. okay, and then this is how it'll look like, the quote number. So this is the second quote that I've generated for this particular demo company. If your company name will pop up, and hi and all of that, code 440, and this is the link for the code for them to approve or accept. And then from your online code, you can accept, decline, comment, or print. They can negotiate, and yeah, so you can send yourself a copy as well, and then hit send. Because it's a trial plan, it's not getting sent. So in a real scenario, this particular thing will get sent. So once that's sent out, I'm just gonna go to sales overview. Now you will see there's 522. There's two draft. One is going to be the one that I just created, so you click on that. So nothing happens in the background for codes, guys. It's just a code, you send it out, and once all that thing is accepted and you invoice them, only then journals are posted. Okay, so this is the one that I created. Unfortunately, I can't just click this and send it. So once I send it, it'll just say as sent. Within 14 days, this needs to be accepted. Once that's not accepted, it'll just go into decline. Or you can resend it, and if they accept it, you can just come on to the accepted bar, click on that particular code that you have sent out, and then say that invoice to that particular customer, and that will just move towards the invoice bar. When it moves to the invoice bar, it'll come up here as it'll come up here as awaiting payment. So from this section, you can follow up with the customer to make payments, or if it gets overdue, you can just send few more emails and all of that. So that happens there. At the same time, you don't need to go through this quote scenario. If you know that customer, you know what they want, and they are pretty firm with it, and all of that stuff, so you can just straight away create an invoice and send it straight away. So another form is you could create a draft invoice, and then once you go into that draft, you can just click on that, hit approve. So the same drafts come into the other category as well. I'm just gonna show you here, approval, awaiting approval. So you just click on one of the 550, say approve, okay, and that'll just move away. So now that you have only 3 draft, and yeah, we've got one awaiting approval as well. So what happens, how awaiting approval works is you can just click on that particular invoice which is in draft, and come to this section, and you can say submit for approval. So I'm going to submit this for approval, and then when you go on to your thingy here, so now that you have 2, so whoever the manager who is reviewing, or you are the person who is managing the things, you can come to awaiting approval and select the task, whichever one that suits you, and you're just gonna say approve that. Okay, and then that will move towards awaiting payment. It was 13 before, and now it's 14. Okay, so and then through the link, the customers can make payment. So or either way, you could select a particular invoice and then say it's paid as well, so that's also possible. And you can open an awaiting invoice, and you can manually assign payments to it. So it still says awaiting payment, or maybe the customer paid you cash. So these are the setup, the online payments thing that I have, the invoice template. You add payment, you go on to add payment, 1650. If they pay you cash and the owner has used it for his personal use, it's a sale for the business, but that money has been taken out by the owner. So you would say it's a drawing, and then the whole amount, and you would add. And this whole 1,650 will be a payment will be marked as payment received. So if you weave the invoice, if you come down, so it says payment received 1,650, and this whole amount in the invoice, it's no longer due to you, it's been paid. Okay, so that's how the invoices work. And also another thing that I wanted to touch base on is new invoices. It's the same way how you create a code, new invoice, and that'll just add on and on. Okay, so I wanted to touch base on this a bit. So 31st of July, today is the 26th. I wanted to show you how to add credit. So let's just say that this person, so this is age receivable summary. So this is all the you could generate a report for this, and you know exactly within which month who needs to make you payment. So these are the current ones. So how you get to this stage is you click on accounting. Because I have start, if you click on the reports, you have all the reports, but I have start this particular one, aged receivables. So you click on the age receivables, that'll get you to the same page. Click on the date on when you wanted to weave them, and then we have Port Phillip Freight 550. They owe us this money. Let's just assume that this service we didn't give their service or goods to them yet, and they wanted a refund, or this didn't happen at all, you posted it by mistake, you wanted to delete it. So how you would want to process or maybe a refund, so you need to add a credit note to that particular customer. So I wanted to show you how this works. I'm just gonna go with Port Phillip Freight, and we will just give a refund. So there are certain instances where you will have to provide a refund. Sometimes half of the goods are supplied, so you would reduce the other or write it off, or maybe we have invoiced them over which they actually need, so we need to get rid of some of it. So how you would get rid of them is 550. You go here, so this is your sales overview, and from here you will click, these are the invoice code, and then repeating invoice. So you would click credit note. So once you get here, Port Phillip, that's the contact you have, and as at today, item whatever you need to open that invoice to check what's provided, but for teaching purposes, I'm just gonna keep it simple. I'm just gonna go with a small, that's actually more than what they owe, so it'll become a negative balance. To keep it very simple, I'm just gonna go with 2 quantities, $88, right? And I'm just gonna approve this. So this is I'm gonna reduce with their owing by this much. So I'm gonna click 88. So I wanted you to take a look at 550 is what they actually owe. Now that you're gonna post a credit to them, I'm just gonna say approve. Okay, so now this is credited, and this is the only invoice that we have for that for this for Port Phillip Freight. Their name is not popping up, so it's asking you they have $88 worth of credit, and you wanted to apply to this particular invoice. So I'm gonna go say 88. I'm gonna use the whole amount and then allocate the credit. So once that credit is allocated, it'll say less credit invoice, 88 reduced, and then the remaining credit is 0. So another form, when you get here, so this 550 will get reduce their owing, because now it's 462 because we granted them a credit note. So mostly it's for refunds, customer overpayment or overbilled, over invoice them for such scenarios. Or maybe you send them an invoice, you don't have that stock with you, so you need to get rid of that so that the amount here shows the correct one. So this is how you will get rid of that particular invoice. Again, you go on to invoices, sales overview. So there's 910. So these are all the customers that owes you. It comes from highest to lowest. And then this is overdue, 910. So this is basically it. So if you go on to your learning portal in Xero, it's pretty much everything what I covered. You can just open it up and then go through each one of them. I think some of them, they had some videos on it. So that's pretty much what you should know. So I think I've covered how to manage sending codes, invoices, and how to adjust. And another feature is import invoices and bills. I am 100% sure this you won't be using this feature anywhere, even if you are a business owner or someone who wants to get into a business as an employee. It's very rare that you would use this import feature. Everything you will do here is manually. If someone's using this import feature, they don't need a software because they can use the Excel or whichever one they are using. Sometimes you might use this if you are doing a transition from one software to another, so which is a very rare scenario that takes place. So that's pretty much about the customer invoice and codes, right? So on the next one, I'm going to touch base on the supplier bills. So I'll see you on the next one.